Okay, welcome to our review. We have three problems today that we'll work on. The first one, let's take a look at it. The question says the measurement of DCE is equal to 7x plus 2, and the measurement of ECB is equal to x plus 8. Find the measure of DCE. Let's first annotate our diagram. The first thing they told us, and I'm going to highlight this in orange, is they told us that the measurement of DCE was 7x plus 2. The angle DCE is right here, DCE. I always follow the three letters. I look at D, C, E. Since C is in the middle, I know that we are talking about this angle right here. I've also highlighted it in orange so that we can see it better. Okay, the second angle that they gave us, I'm going to change the color to green. The second angle they gave us was ECB, and they said that angle was x plus 8. So here is ECB, and that angle is right here. This angle highlighted in green, ECB. All right, they told us the values of both of those angles, so let's also annotate those two so that it's clear to us. DCE is 7x plus 2. So this is 7x plus 2. The second angle, again, in green is ECB. ECB is x plus 8. Okay, now, being that these are the only two angles they gave us information for, we can try and figure out the measurement of DCE, which is the angle in orange. We're trying to figure out what the actual measure is. They want us to get a number, not a value, but a number. So somewhere down the line, we're going to end up plugging in our solution when we find x. So let's first take a look. When we are trying to figure out what the relationship is and how to set it up, we need to look at the angle relationship that they gave us according to the diagram. It says what's the angle the angle relationship that we see. The two angles, the one in orange and the one in green, they are complementary. Now, complementary angles, you should remember this from your vocab review, is that it means that the two angles, the sum of the two angles are equal to 90. So they sum up to 90 degrees. So being that we have all this information in yellow, we can now set up an equation to help us solve for x. Since we know the sum, meaning to add, since we know that sum means to add, we're going to take these two, add them up, and set them equal to 90 degrees. So here's the first one. 7x plus 2 is the first expression, plus, right, the sum, plus 8 plus x equals to 90. This equation is going to help us solve for x. Let's go ahead and combine like terms now. We have 7x plus x. The value there is just 8x. So let's go ahead and write 8x. All right, and then we have positive 2 plus 8. We know that that's equal to 10. And we bring down our 90 degrees. We can now try to isolate x, getting everything away from x. So let's first subtract by 10. All right. We subtract 10 on both sides. On the right, 90 minus 10 is equal to 80. And we bring down the 8x. Our final step here, we want to get x by itself. So we finally need to divide by 8. And we get that x is equal to 10. Now, this is just 1/2 of our problem. Remember that we need to find the measure of DCE. DCE, the measure itself, is we need to figure out the measurement by finding the actual degree measure. So let's plug this in. So we know that angle DCE has an expression 7x plus 2. We need to plug in this value into this expression. So we're going to replace x with 10. So 7 times 10 plus 2, right? We continue to bring everything down and simplify. So 7 times 10 gives us 70 plus 2 gives us 72 degrees. So now this is our final answer. We have found that the angle in orange is equal to 72 degrees. Okay, let's move on to our next problem. Okay, same process. We're gonna try out a few more to see if we get a hang of it. You can pause the video right here and determine what angle relationship do you see. If we are given the 95 degrees, which is on angle SIP, and the D plus 13, which is on angle SIM. What is the angle relationship that you see? Go ahead and pause the video here. Okay. When I look at these two, I notice that they are adjacent. They are next to each other, right? The red angle and the angle in green, they're next to each other. But in addition to that, I also notice that they're sitting on a straight line. They are sitting on a straight line. So whenever I see two angles that are adjacent to one another and they're sitting on a straight line, right? These two angles in red and the one in green, I need to make sure that I know the relationship between those two is that they are linear. Whoa, that is so huge. I know that they are linear pairs, okay? Linear pairs. Now, the relationship with linear pairs is that they are equal to 180 degrees. The sum of those two angles should be equal to 180 degrees. So let's go ahead and set up our equation to try and solve for these two angles. I'm sorry, to try and solve for angle SIM. So again, we know that we're going to end up plugging in somewhere when we find the value of D. We're going to have to plug it in to find the actual measurement of SIM, which is in green. All right, the two angles, let's add them up and set them equal to 180 degrees. So we have 95 plus D plus 13. We set the two expressions, we sum them, and then we set them equal to 180 degrees because linear pairs are equal to 180. Now we need to combine like terms. I see a 95 and I also see a 13. I need to go ahead and combine those like terms. When I add 95 and 13, I get 108. And I bring down the D and the addition sign. I also bring down the 180 degrees. And I continue to simplify all the way down till I get D is equal to some number. I'm going to subtract 108 from both sides. And I'm left with D is equal to 72 degrees. I'm sorry, 72. Now, again, we need to go ahead and plug in D into the expression D plus 13 to try to figure out the actual measure of SIM. So we replace D with 72. So plug it in. All right, and then we add 72 plus 13. When I add those two together, I get 85. So the value of angle SIM is 85 degrees. Now, something that's really cool about this is when you go in to check, you can actually verify if indeed the two angles SIP and SIM are equal to 180 degrees, because didn't we say linear pairs are equal to 180? Absolutely. So is it true that 85, which is the green angle, SIM, plus 95 is equal to 180? Is that true? Yes, if you add up 85 and 95, you do get 180 degrees. So this tells us that we just proved that the linear pairs and their values that they gave us are indeed equal to 180, and they are linear pairs. Okay, folks, let's see one more example. One more example. Okay, so again, pause the video here to see if you can verify what the angle relationship is between PIR in orange and SIM in blue. All right, did you guess it? Did you guess that these two angles are vertical angles? Vertical angles? Remember that vertical angles are angles that are across from each other. So it looks like a little bow tie, right? You have an angle on this end and you have an angle on this end. They are opposite each other, the two angles that they gave us. So we know that vertical angles are equal. If you know that the orange angle is equal to 50 degrees, then SIM should also be equal to 50 degrees because vertical angles are equal. So now let's set up our equation that will be most appropriate for for this angle relationship. Did you guess that they should be set equal to each other? If you did, you are correct. We need to set these two expressions equal to each other because vertical angles are equal. Okay, now that we have the two expressions, the orange one is on the left, the blue one is on the right. They're set equal to each other because vertical angles are equal. Now let's simplify our equation. Let's try to get everything away from x, or at least combine like terms. So let's get all of our x's to one side and all of our numbers to the other. So let's first subtract 3 from both sides. That looks like the easiest bet. You could have started in another way, which is totally fine, as long as you're being consistent. Okay, so we subtracted 3 on both sides. 24 minus 3, oops, 24 minus 3 gives us 21. And we bring down the 7x on the right, and we bring down the 4x on the left. Now we want to continue to simplify. Let's subtract 4x from both sides. When we do that, 4x and 4x cancel out. We're left with 21 is equal to 3x. 7x minus 4x, 3x. We continue to simplify. Our next step is to divide by 3. We get that x is equal to 7. Excellent. Okay, now again, we have the value of x, but we need to plug it in. So solve for the missing angles PIR and SIM. This is telling us that we need to substitute in for both expressions. So the first I'm going to put in orange, so we're staying consistent. They told us that the expression 4x plus 24 is for the orange angle. So if we plug this x value in, we have 4 times 7 plus 24. And when we simplify, 7 times 4 and then plus 24, what do we get? Pause the video here. Absolutely, we get 52. Now on the right side, let's compare. So we got 52 here for the orange angle. Let's color coordinate. All right, so our blue angle is 7x plus 3. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to plug it in. So 7 times x, which is also 7, plus 3. We have 49 plus 3 gives us 52. So again, this verifies. So when we have 52 is equal to 52, this verifies that the left and the right are equal. And this verifies what we said before, that vertical angles are equal. So this side is equal to 52 and this side is also equal to 52. So this verifies our conjecture about the vertical angles. All right, so feel free to go back into time and rewatch if necessary. Now you have some of the basics down and you're able to continue the practice and get these angle relationships down packed in your minds. Okay, guys, thanks for watching.